It's February 14th, Valentine's Day. We're going to show you how much we love you with a very special guest tonight. Our first Valentine's Day together. It's the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott. And here they are, those romantic devils. They are taking care of their wives on Valentine's Day. Please welcome Ken and Glenn and Yummy, a guy named Scott. Hey, brothers.
What's going on?
We're taking care of each other, actually.
Oh, chocolates, flowers, I'm sure, everything.
I almost jumped out of character. I am Glenicio Gomez tonight.
Sorry, Glenicio.
Ken
and Glenicio.
It's the Ken and Glenicio show with the guy named Scott.
We have somebody in the green room. I have no idea who it is.
But we're not introducing the special guest just yet because we're going to talk about Valentine's Day.
Well, he looks like he's smothering to death with a scarf on his face. Just going to throw that out.
Well,
there.
as we used to say in Guatemala, tough nudies and naked babies. He's going to have to deal with it for a little bit.
Oh my
Hey, happy Valentine's, kids.
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's.
And Scott is not only in Las Vegas, he is on a staycation in Las Vegas. Tell him about it, Scott.
Well, we got a notice that we had a comp night. They were doing a special for locals and everything, and a comp night at Caesar's Palace. So Tam and I were like, "Holy cow! What a great way to spend Valentine's Day!" So we are doing a little brief staycation. And I'm absolutely terrified because while I'm here in the hotel room doing the show, she is downstairs at video poker. So,
burning up all of the money you earn on this show.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Well, she got rid of that pretty quickly.
Doesn't take her long, does it?
Before her first bet, she got rid of that. But yeah, I'm hoping there was going to be a car to get out of valet, but
she's had some good fortune on video poker already, which is fantastic. May that fortune continue.
She walked in and hit 4 aces on video poker straight out of the chute. So,
wow,
yeah, and big lose.
Well, you know what? If they win more than you lose, that's a marriage.
It is.
That's a good marriage.
It works out great. I'm a happy guy. So
who are our suspects tonight? I see Ernest and Robert.
We got I want to say to everybody, we have, I don't know who it is. Glenn says it's a very special guest in the green room. You'll want to share this one out. We need to get
in fact
planet Earth.
We can't do the show until it's been shared out.
Yeah, we're just going to sit here,
you guys.
Let's just sit and stare at them until they all say they've shared it. No words.
Hey, when Bruce asked, "What's the worst thing that could happen?" Have you guys ever seen the Albert Brooks movie? What's called Coming to America?
Lost in America.
Lost in America,
buddy. Remember when I said I'm going to save my comment till the show? That's exactly what I was going to reference. The question is not that we've seen it. The question is, have you seen it?
Yes, I have seen it.
That movie is funny. She loses everything, and they're just starting out they're just starting out their new life, right? They sell they get rid of everything. They get out of the mainstream hunt of money in Beverly Hills, and they get a Winnebago and head out for a long road trip. Unfortunately, the first stop they make is in Las Vegas. And she goes absolutely batshit crazy at the roulette table. While Albert Brooks is asleep, and he wakes up in the middle of the night, and Julie Haggerty, that's who it was Julie Haggerty. She's nowhere to be seen. And when he gets down into the casino, she's over the ball spinning around and she's going 22, 22, 22, 22.
Scott's worried that there's not going to be a car to get out of valet.
Hey, do you remember who played the casino general manager?
You bet it was Gary Marshall.
Gary Marshall.
Pitch when Albert Brooks was sitting there pitching. The Desert Inn has heart. The Desert Inn has heart. See, you can give us our money back.
Give us our money back.
And then the Desert Inn has heart.
And Gary Marshall's like, no, we're a casino. We're in the business of making money. That doesn't work. Hey, look, I love when he goes, hey, look, listen, you're a nice guy, but no.
No.
Good evening, Jeanette.
Hey,
Pamela, good evening.
Greg Crane is up in Canada, eh?
Hey, Greg. Greg will enjoy our guest. Colleen, good evening to you. Curtis, welcome.
For those just joining, we have a special guest sitting,
and we're about 2 minutes away from the reveal.
The Glenecia will not tell us who it is.
No, I'm going to go ahead and warm up. And I'm going to tell you where we met. Okay. You guys remember I was doing a little TV show. Michelle in the house. Michelle. Hi, honey. Nice to see you.
Scott Ricard.
And Sister Wanda.
You may remember I used to do this little TV show for Fox Television called 24. And
I've heard of that.
Well, in the 5th season, we had a parade of celebrities that came to visit. And one of them that I became really good buddies with was Harvey Korman. Now, don't think it's going to be Harvey because Harvey is deceased. But Harvey was there, and it was so cool to me that I wondered, what the hell is Harvey Korman doing here on our set? And then he came over, and when I introduced myself, he goes, no, listen, I appreciate that your name's Glenn, but not for the rest of the day. Okay? This is what he told me, not for the rest of the day. My family's getting ready to come over here and meet you, and you're our favorite character on the show. So can you just play along? It'll be Aaron for the rest of the day. We can get to the Glenn stuff later. It was very funny. And we went on to become good buddies and invited Carolyn and I out to see the show he was doing a few weeks later with Tim Conway. It was fabulous. But anyway, we were popular amongst a lot of well-known celebs. And I found out that one of the celebs lives pretty close to me, like really close to me. And I just decided that we should get to know each other. So we did.
Mark Cuban?
I think we should go ahead. No, it's not Mark Cuban, but I think you should go ahead and bring our celebrity on board. Let's welcome, if we could. I know this much. I know that our government has had some problems. There's been a lot of war back and forth. So we've reached back into the archives, and we're gonna see if maybe someone else can do a better job of running our country. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of the United States himself.
It's good to see you. What's up, guys? Happy President's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, George.
Oh, yeah. Well, that too. Scott, Ken, good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
A privilege, Mr. President.
I don't know why you're laughing. I haven't told a joke.
Listen, we have, Mr. President, we have a politically divided group here, but we are so glad to see you. But I just want to tell you that it's an absolute pleasure to have you on our show. We just so grateful that 2 Dallas boys were able to come and spend some time on the air tonight together.
Absolutely. Well, I just was honored by your invitation. You know, it gives me a little credibility.
How have you been spending your downtime here with all this wild craziness going on at the Capitol and whatnot?
With the TV off.
Now, right now, are you at the ranch, or it looks like you're at a local high school getting ready to make a PTA meeting speech or something.
My paint studio is a mess, so I just threw up the green screen. I didn't throw up on the green screen. I threw up a green screen and put up this little cheap brick wall. But the flag is real. The flag is mine.
Oh my God.
Ken?
Mr. President, Mr. President, I have to ask
Don't expect me to hug it. It's been done.
Scott, I believe, had a question for you.
Oh, my
sir.
God. Oh,
I was just going to ask Mr. President, with the change in administrations, your perspective on wars and the particular types of bombs that have been talked about between Russia, the United States, what Iran is building. Would you like to talk about that for a moment?
Well, what I want to know is, which president are you saying is bombing?
oh my gosh. That is so funny.
Say it's about 50-50. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Are you happy to no longer be in the White House?
I feel kind of, I feel loose. I feel you're making me feel free. I like it.
What did you say, Scott?
I said, sir, are you happy that you're no longer in the White House?
Yes, my boots were not deep enough.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yes. Having Mr. President come by and hang with us today was my gift to you, gentlemen. I love you dearly, and certainly George and I have been friends for a long time. So he's like, it was just such a pleasure to have him around the set of 24. It was at one point, though, I have to tell you, he was being a little bit pushy toward Gregory Itzin and saying, hey, if you ever need a backup, and he wanted to work as an advisor. Right. And they told him that don't you have a job to get back to?
They misunderstood what I said and gave me a visor.
Yeah, I remember that.
Advisor.
Right.
Said 24.
I said advisor.
I said, can't you at least give me a director's chair?
So it literally was an advisor. That's pretty cool.
Right. Where's the respect?
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Ken, surely you have a question for our president?
I appreciate you, Ken. I may need you to help me with my live stream. I'm trying to make a comeback, and I don't know how it works.
You figured the green screen training out. I'll give you that. You did that. You nailed it. Good job.
I have to give kudos to Laura.
I figured maybe a Secret Service man was helping you there or something.
Do we have some questions for the president in our gallery?
Any questions?
Please chime in, guys. This is you don't get an opportunity to talk to a president very often.
Go for it. Everything's off limits.
Everything's off limits.
Oh my
gosh, your phone's ringing. She's hit another jackpot, Scott.
Oh geez, he's walking out on the president.
Look at him, he's frozen.
And he's frozen. Oh, there. Oh, it's his hotel phone. They're like, we've arrested your wife.
He's like, yeah, bring up the heart-shaped towels. It's going to be a big night in Vegas.
You know who it is? It's that cab driver from Vegas. Or Jacksonville or wherever it is. Is that your cab driver friend from Jacksonville, Scott?
Talk about Taxi Terry?
No, I was that was President Obama, and he's really a little upset.
Hey, Scott, did you hear that?
I heard he's mentioned Taxi Terry.
President Bush knows about Taxi Terry.
Wow.
Mind blown. Oh my gosh.
Listen, I've been motivated by you more than once. I appreciate your call to excellence, to give more than you've got, which seems impossible to me, but whatever.
Oh my God. That is too
I got
funny.
nothing after that.
I don't even know what to say.
I know we've got some questions here, don't we?
Oh, here.
Jeanette, what did Jeanette say?
Mm.
I'm always warmed to see the special bond between he and Michelle Obama. What is the nature of this special friendship?
You know, it's just I think it's a CarMax kind of a thing. You know, karma. It's just one of those deals where you know when you meet somebody and you have that special kind of what is it? Kinetic? I don't know. Kind of a warmy, fuzzy thing.
Almost kismet.
We all
warmy, fuzzy thing.
Yeah. It's like hugging Barney or something. My dog from back in the day, Mrs. Beasley. We're just close. What can I say?
Oh my God!
But I've never sniffed her hair or anything. You know.
Bring in the questions. Here they
come.
All
right, here. I thought President Trump was one of our best presidents. How do you feel about that, President Bush?
Well, it's like comparing apples to onions. They look similar, but it's a different taste.
Right.
But they'll both feed you, you know.
Oh my God. Here's another one. What strategy would you give to President Biden?
Pay attention.
That's it. Pay attention. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness
I don't
gracious.
think my face has ever hurt this
But
much.
you know what? Listen, we pray for all of our presidents, of course, self included, because you know, whether you're left, right, or somewhere in between, we all need God's help, right?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Is presidents
Look, there's
any plans? What do presidents, actual former presidents, do on President's Day?
We go to the parade.
It's a random parade. Can you just tell Brad Leland, Mr. President, how much you appreciated his vote? It'll mean the world to him, and he'll always have that on tape of you saying that to him.
Brad,
let me give you full screen.
Brad, listen, I want you to know I appreciate you. Appreciate your support. And I think I know you. I'm not sure, but didn't you used to impersonate Jay Leno?
Mr. President, you may remember Mr. Leland from a TV series on NBC called Friday Night Lights.
No, I knew you.
But it's Buddy Garrity.
Buddy.
And he just had a big film opened on Friday called Land.
Yeah.
How did it do, Brad? How was opening weekend, brother? And Brad's here in Dallas with me, by the way, and with Mr. Bush. All of us, all three of us are here in Dallas, where it is now 12 degrees and snowing, with a forecast tomorrow of 0 degrees in Dallas. Is President Bush going to take up stand-up comedy?
Well, I have been feeling my oats in that regard. And no, that's not the same thing as going on an audition with food in your pants.
I told you we were buddies. He knows my tricks.
Oh my God.
He knows me.
That is too funny.
Second inaugural address.
What did Pamela say? You got a lot of comments for the president. Let's read them.
Yeah. Here, let me see.
Pamela Aubrey had something.
Oh, let me see. Let me go to Pam first. What are the president's thoughts on the Valentine's Day decorations at the White House this year?
I honestly haven't seen them, Pam. I appreciate the question, but my heart and my focus all belong to Laura, especially on Valentine's Day. You know, I'll just tell you a little story. When I first met Laura, she was a librarian. That's why I checked her out in the first place.
Oh my God. Oh, that's funny.
She still flips my flapjacks.
Oh my God. Do you prefer riding horses on the ranch in Crawford or your moped in Highland Park?
Thank you, John. You know, wherever I am, that's what I prefer. You know, whether I'm golfing or mopeding or trotting down Trotters Park, I'm happy because I'm a man who likes to live in the present. That's why I'm the president.
Mr. President, it's been a while. It's been a minute since you were last in office.
You're always Mr. President.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Hi,
what
Sandy.
are you doing now?
Sandy wants to know what you're up to now, Mr. President.
Isn't it obvious? I mean, this has got to be the highlight of your career, being on our show.
Well, it's helping. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I go, did that happen?
Oh my God.
Sometimes I just wished I could go back and manage baseball, you know, buy a couple teams, you know, hang out with Nolan.
Yeah. That is so funny.
Nolan Ryan, by the way, introduced the expression FIMO, which stands for if I am going to, used in Texan. FIMO actually means if I am going to, and I'm going to prove it because he did an Advil commercial, and here's how he said if I am going to, using the acronym FIMO. He said, if I'm going to keep playing baseball, I'm going to need to take some Advil. That's what he said. If I'm going to keep playing baseball.
That's
Is it
funny.
true you are not allowed to drive a car by the Secret Service?
Yes, and if they'd have told me that, I might never have run for president.
There you go,
my
Jared.
God. Still riding your bike a lot, George.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. The knee's struggling a little bit, but we're still out there with the troops and taking care of our vets. Absolutely.
What's your vocabulary word for the week?
Let me think about it and get back with you, Jennifer. Because the word that came to mind, I'm not going to say on this show.
Mr. Pez. I think Rini meant Prez. Please spell potato.
If you spell Prez, I'll spell potato.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, well,
Our
played.
viewers loving the President of the United
Well
States on this
played.
Valentine's Day. Some more comments.
Tammy just walked in the room and she went, "Is George Bush on with you?" she can't see the screen. She can just hear. She's
He's
convinced that George Bush is going on with it. So
Did you see his water cup, y'all? Did you miss that?
What water cup? You didn't see anything.
Maybe you have whiskey in it. I don't know. That
No.
was hilarious.
It's water.
It's
Water.
it's water.
We do that.
Alkalized.
We do that on the show all the time.
Nebulized, alkalized.
That is so funny. What's your recommended book of the week?
Well, I'm reading this. I'm reading this little book on overcoming fear because it's so important. Because anytime you try something new, you know, it doesn't matter what you've accomplished before. When you change to something different, it's new. And when I give a speech, I like to talk about that by holding up 2 dimes and then throwing them across the room and saying that there was a paradigm shift.
Oh my
Oh, God.
I promised you'd be a gift, kids.
Oh my God.
Ken, I can tell you too. Are you hurting right here?
Oh,
My
entire
face is
face
like,
hurt.
it's so great.
The
Oh,
president
my
came
God.
on and made our faces hurt.
Oh.
Water.
Water.
Oh my God, this is hilarious. Whiskey wouldn't be kosher. I want to hear Glenn's voice that he does, that he said will always make you instantly happy.
Well, are we talking about Glenicio, or are we talking about Jay that does the weather?
It's working.
Jay,
I'm pretty sure she's talking about the weatherman Jay. And right now, Jay would say, oh my God, turn your faucets on tonight in Northeast Texas. Turn your faucets on because it's going down to 0. Did you hear me, kids? 0 degrees. You just got to let it trickle a little bit. It shouldn't be a problem for you elderly men. I know you've been trickling for a while. It's the way it is.
oh my God. I can't take it.
that sounds a bit like Todd Chrisley right there.
Oh, yes. I know. Chrisley knows best.
Yes.
I know. Carolyn watches him all the time. And he's like, kids, you're not doing that. You are not going out there.
Exactly.
You're not going to do that. Not on my watch.
Oh my God. What's your favorite board game, President Bush?
Risk. Otherwise known as deciders.
Wow. Well,
you have to make decisions, and the longer you take to make decisions, the longer it takes to get anything done.
Wow.
What's funny about that?
You've certainly been viewed as a man of logic throughout history, Mr. President, and once again that's been evidenced right here on the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott. Jerry Eisenhower wants to know what were your thoughts when Trump had McDonald's catered to the White House?
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
It was awesome.
Just
it was
brilliant.
Awesome because he needed the people. See, it's all about the optics and a quarter pounder.
Now I heard,
and those fries, those McDonald's fries, they're sent straight down from heaven. I know an angel delivered that recipe to Ray Kroc.
That is the truth, sir. That is the truth.
I want some right now, Laura. I'll get it later.
Brad Leland wants to know if you remember your golf match with him out at Brook Hollow.
I must have hit something out of bounds. Brad, I'm sorry, I don't.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't believe I don't. I remember just about everything.
That's the first time Brad has ever experienced being forgettable.
We'll have to
in his life.
We'll have to play again. We'll get the producer from Saturday Night Lights out there and rock it on.
Friday. It's Friday.
No, don't correct the president. Do not correct the president.
Oh no, I am immutably correctable.
Jennifer Moran would like to know, what was your relationship like with Nancy Pelosi?
Yes, thank you, Jen. I had the privilege of being the first person in the history of the world on TV. I'm sure she said it in front of the mirror 100 times before then, but to say, Madam, what's the phrase? Madam, whatever, the top dog, because she was the top of I haven't thought about politics in so long, I kind of forget. Madam First is not the first lady. She wants to be, but Madam Speaker, that's it.
Speaker.
Bam.
You pulled that right out of the hat.
He said she wants to be. Oh,
that took a little too long on live TV.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Well, okay, Brad, we did play. You got me.
Yeah, you got me.
What's the point of
That's
putting?
so funny. Oh, wow.
So I'm gonna let our president off the hook here shortly, but we've got a few more questions, and I'm gonna let you know about the genius behind the man that is my friend. A few more. Greg, what did Greg Parton say? Let's get Greggy in on this.
Where is he? He said, "What's up, fellas? Happy Snow Zombie Day in Texas."
Oh, it very much is. Very
is it
much
snowing
so.
there right now?
Yeah, it's snowing right now. It's been snowing all afternoon
Wow.
In Dallas.
in Dallas, Texas.
Who broke the world?
Yeah, no kidding.
Right. We're supposed to get another 8 to 12 inches here in Ohio in the next starting tonight.
What is the current Fahrenheit? Hold on. What is the current Fahrenheit temperature in Dallas?
About 10.
12 degrees.
Oh wow.
Yep.
It's warmer here.
Crazy, crazy. I understand you're on vacation right now, sir. You're out in Orlando. Is that correct?
Yes.
And it's pretty balmy out there today.
But it's up in the 70s.
Wow.
That's nice.
So, you know.
That's real nice.
So do we have any more questions, Keno, that you can highlight?
Visiting Jeb.
What would you say to the guy who continues to try to scam our buddy Ken Walls? Scammers.
Ken's a good guy. Always look for the real Ken Walls.
Wow.
That's too good.
Wow.
So Mr. President, how do you feel about having the mask removed? Would you like to come out and come back in? I can't believe I said that on live. But I did.
If you'd have said it the other way, it would have been worse.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, let me try something here.
Here, I'll remove you from the screen for a minute.
There's no need.
Thank you for the visit, Mr. President. Thank you for the visit. We're going to bring you back. Don't leave. We're just going to take you off screen for just a second, and then I'm going to reintroduce my buddy. Wow. All right. So did we hit it out of the park, gentlemen?
Yes. Grand slam. Unreal. That's so great.
All right. So for those of you who were watching, that is my dear buddy John C. Morgan, who has been regarded as the premier, not one of the, but the premier George Bush impersonators in the world today. And John happens to live in Florida, and he is now spending time doing a lot of Donald Trump gigs. But Bush that's his trademark deal. And there are so many people when John is out on the street. And the reason I ask him is because we wanted to talk about love tonight, and we wanted to talk about relationships. And all three of us have been married a long time. Well, it turns out so has John. John and his lovely wife have been married either 38 or 39 years. I know it's a long time. And, I wanted him to be able to speak as himself, but you can't get anyone finer. For those of you who are throwing major events and so forth, John has entertained all over the world as President George Bush, and for the last several years has been doing a lot of events as Donald Trump. And, and people ask him for their picture with him. And oh, wow. Now, see, why would that happen where all of a sudden my phone would just start engaging Facebook and I'm nowhere near it? Stuff like that's weird.
It is.
I'm nowhere near it. I wasn't on Facebook. And it lights up and starts talking.
I think he's ready. You want me to bring him back in?
Yeah, let's bring back. So everybody, if you put your hands together, this time not for President George Bush, but for John Morgan. Give him a big hand, please. Everybody, welcome back, John.
Thank you.
Wow.
Welcome, brother. Welcome to the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott. We're glad to have you. Hey, can you adjust your name on your end?
Oh, yeah.
Can you actually...
I don't know if I can do it from here.
I can do it here. Just
hold on. He's gonna hook you up.
What is it again, John?
Thank you, John Morgan or John C. Morgan.
John, right?
Yes.
Morgan. Yeah.
Got it.
Morgan
there you go.
In Germany.
So thank you for entertaining the boys. That was for the whole group, and people are going to love this throughout the week as they log on. But it was a special gift to my two buddies. So thank you,
good
John,
timing.
for doing
Tomorrow
that.
being President's Day and today being Valentine's Day, it couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah. So tell us about. We're talking tonight about love and about longevity, possibly even tips for people that are in long-term relationships, or just anything you guys want to talk about tonight with regard to love. I will tell you that love is what has kept this trio together, because we genuinely love doing the show. We love it. It's certainly not something we do for money. There's no money involved. There's a great deal of fun, and we know that especially early on, when COVID was massively overwhelming everyone, not that that's not still true, but early on, people were having such a difficult time adjusting to the change that had befallen everyone. And we were a place that gave people 90 minutes to be entertained and to not have to worry about things. And it's been beautiful. So I know you've watched a number of episodes, John, and just welcome to our family. But
wow,
any thoughts you guys have about love on this Valentine's Day?
I love the fact that John has watched several of our episodes and knows so much about us. Like,
well, you kind of have to do that if you're going to come on a show, don't you?
If you listen to Scott, you know you got to do your homework.
Wow.
And you know, I tell you, we'll make this comment about love. It's the lack of love that broke up the Beatles. Think about that.
That's true.
Oh my God,
John, how did you get started doing this? I'm just curious. You know, what did you do before that led into the speaking gigs and the corporate?
That's a great question. I love it.
It was a very logical progression. I was selling used refrigerators.
That makes sense. Perfect sense. I get it.
Now, for some reason, I believe you.
I feel you, John. I get it.
I believe you. Is that true, John, or is that just silliness?
I resonate with you, Ken, and your down to a nickel story.
Which time?
Yeah, right. Been there, done that. When I was in my early 20s, I was a singer-songwriter and fully expected to make my mark in the world. And the only mark I made was in my underpants, and had to give up that career and go get a job. And I had to go crawling back to my father, who ran an appliance store in Orlando, after I told him, you know, sayonara, I'm going to go and change the world. And, you know, again, the only thing I changed, you know, after the mark of the beast. But then I had this yearning in my heart to do something special, but I knew I had to, you know, focus on my family, so to speak. And so there was this long desert season of working in the appliance store and sensing that that's exactly where I needed to be, but yearning to do something else. And I was just in this waiting season. And as I became aware that George Bush was running for president, people started tapping me on the shoulder like constantly, "Hey, do you know you look a lot like George Bush?" And I thought, yeah, cool. That's kind of cool. You know, anything to get an attention, you know, when you're a narcissist. I don't know if I'm a narcissist or not, you know, definitions change, you know, week to week. But I didn't have any affinity for the lookalike profession. Just the opposite. I felt that they needed a good counselor. And so when someone suggested that I go that direction, I kind of, you know, I said, there's a lot of directions I'm going. That's definitely not one of them. In fact, that's one of those things to run in the opposite direction, and it's because I didn't understand it. And a lot of things you may be called to that you're afraid of simply because you don't have enough information. You don't have enough knowledge to be willing to take the first step. So my wife actually challenged me. She goes, I think you'd be good at it. You should give it a shot. And to my surprise, once I made the decision after some prayer to jump in with both feet, I started getting booked right away, and I never looked back.
Wow.
And did you find that you were getting better and better? I would think you would. As you were getting booked more often, you went deeper into the study of the president's isms.
I mean, the eyes, the smile, everything. It's
everything. John is truly a master.
It is.
You're very kind.
Absolutely. He did. Hey, Jen and I are both huge Trump fans, so we got to pull Trump out of you.
He has a wig he wears.
I might do. I'm more than happy to do it if you'd like me to exit and come back in as Donald.
Well, right now, let's get to know my brother John.
Yeah, maybe a little later. Yeah.
So, John, how about some long-term relationship tips on this Valentine's Day? How about the story of how you and your wife met?
Oh, wow. Okay. My wife had come out of 7 years of horrific, abusive relationship.
Oh, wow.
Never married, but I mean, we're talking physical violence, emotional violence, abortion, prostitution, and all this. And she crawled into the back row of a church. And after 7 years of believing that she had gone too far, she whispered toward heaven, "Is there any way you could forgive me?" And
too far as in escaping God's love?
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And instantly felt, as she prayed that prayer, that God spoke to her in here and said, "I've just been waiting for you to ask." And so there's no end to his love. In the meantime, I'm over here. One time only do I pray for a wife, because my life had been categorized by hidden sin and abusive relationships, one night stands, that sort of thing. And I did not know love. I didn't know what it was. I didn't feel love for anyone, my parents, no one, because I'd been so verbally abused as a kid. I just shut that whole thing down. So I was loveless, not Patty, but just loveless. And so that one and only time I prayed for a wife was a Sunday night during a sermon on faith. And I actually wrote the prayer on the back page of my Bible. And 2 days later, Kathy and I sat next to each other in church. She with this new restored relationship with God, and me with my having said this prayer. But we didn't meet. But she, in her exuberance, was telling everybody about her renaissance. And she invited this guy to church. Well, he went forward and gave his life to Christ. 3 days later, I'm in a hotel 100 miles away from Orlando, and I see this guy that she brought to church. And I get this little nudge, go reach out to him. And I'm like, I don't want to reach out to him. Let me tell you something about nudges. Don't ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
Because he introduced me to my wife of 39 years.
Oh my gosh.
And when I met her, I felt instantly head over heels. I wouldn't have called it love at that point, because again, it was like tasting something for the first time. But we've now been married 39 years. We have 4 awesome sons, 2 priceless daughters-in-law, and 6 to die for grandchildren. So yeah, it's been fun.
That is an awesome story. Wow.
That's beautiful, John. And you see a lot in 39 years. We all know that. A lot of changes. Right?
Yes.
We marry one person, and then we spend a lifetime watching them evolve. Right?
We morph into each other.
Yes.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Ken, you or Scott want to tell a little about your love history and your... I certainly want to talk about mine tonight.
Sure.
Well, you guys go. I'll go last.
Scotto?
Well, Tammy and I, Tammy had been through a divorce, was raising a couple of boys, and I had lost my first wife through cancer, and I hadn't been on a date in 25 years, and I got home one night, and I will admit I had a little bit too much to drink, and I turned on the television at midnight, and there was a commercial for Match.com. And I thought, why not? And I was going to move back to Indiana. So I entered Indiana into the location. And this wonderful woman was the first one that popped up on the list. And so it said you were supposed to write something to her. So I wrote, and Tammy says that is my unreleased book because I wrote so much to her. She said it was practically, my next book where everybody else was, hey, how you doing? That kind of thing. I'm like telling her my life story.
And now it's novelist Scott McCain.
Yeah, exactly. And unbeknownst to what we found out later was Tammy's cousin had put her on the dating site, and it was her last day of the free 14-day trial. And so we are convinced it was a God thing, and
wow.
The thing of it was I asked for her phone number and she said no. She said, let's exchange emails for a month. And if at the end of the month we are still both interested, then I'll give you my phone number or we'll have a cup of coffee. But I don't, that's just not what I do. Well, you start exchanging messages over a month, and I learned about her boys and I learned about what was important to her. And I just thought, wow, what a terrific person. And we met, and about a year later we got married, and it's just been an extraordinary experience. And I think that's one of the things we tell these wonderful stories about how we met. It's you go through ups and downs in any marriage. And I guess that's the one thing I would say, to anybody wanting to get into the type of relationship that we're talking about is, it's not all peaches and cream. It's not all people talk about being, it's not, I don't look at it as work, but I do look at it as commitment. And that's what we are, and that's why we're here. Yeah, she says, yeah, we're committed. We're going to fight it out to the bitter end. But, it's...
there's nothing that says love quite like doing a radio show on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. She says she's going to have me committed because of that. But yeah, that's why we're here. We're gonna go have Valentine's dinner and enjoy it. So we're very, very happy.
That's awesome.
Tell our love
Great
to Tam.
story.
Thank you. Yeah. 15 years for us. So
wow.
Well, ours began back in 1965. I was 6 years old, and there was a little girl who lived 2 doors down, my playmate, and her name was Carolyn. And she was the only girl in the neighborhood that did not have cooties. Now, none of what I'm about to tell you, is embellished at all. That's the truth. She was the only cootie-less girl that I had ever met. And you might be saying right now, well, geez, Glenn, you're pretty young. Weren't you hanging out with the guys? And the answer is yeah, for the most part. However, there was this neighbor named Carolyn who I used to play this fabulous game together with called Doctor. And we enjoyed playing Doctor enough to play it fairly frequently. And it was harmless back in those days. It was more or less a game of curiosity and not much more. And I lived there until I was 8 years old, 2 years at that address. And then we moved away to the north side of Dallas. And I never saw her again until November the 8th of 1976. I got a whisper, what John referred to as a nudge. But it was an identifiable whisper. I knew the source from whence it came because I have grown very familiar my whole life with not only hearing those whispers, but frankly, honoring them. And the whisper was, call Carolyn. And it wasn't out loud, but it was a certain knowingness from within. And it was profoundly clear which Carolyn it meant, because I knew a few Carolyns at that time. And I certainly was not shopping for a girlfriend, but I understood what it meant. And I've always been one to act on my whispers. So I went and grabbed what many of you may remember from your past, a thing called a phone book. And I looked up her name, her dad's name, which was a very memorable name. And I still remembered his name all these years later. Joseph Worcester Lindsley was his name. And I looked them up, and there they were in the phone book. And it was one street over from the original street. So it's got to be the same people. They also moved, but they only moved a block away. And I called. So from the time I got the whisper until the phone was ringing, maybe 2 minutes. So I went into Action Jackson mode, and a voice answered, a female voice. And I said, hello, is Carolyn there? And the voice said, this is Carolyn. Who is this? I said, before I tell you, let me just say it's been a very long time since we've seen or spoken with one another. She started guessing, and she didn't get it right. And I said, let me give you a hint. I have red hair, and I did at that time, a lot of it, fire engine red. And she said, Glenn? And I said, yeah, it's me. She said, who told you? And I said, who told me what? And she goes, no, don't kid me. Who told you that I've been looking for you? And I got chicken skin, and I still get chicken skin to this day.
Wow.
And I said, you've been looking for me? And it turned out that there was this window of opportunity where within a couple of weeks of one another, both of us were reaching out to the other. And what makes this story beautiful is that our reach outs were unbeknownst to one another. So we were fine with having 9 years apart, but our efforts to reach one another were within a matter of weeks of each other. And I'm convinced to this day that the reason for that was because we had a divine appointment to keep called spending the rest of our lives together. She said, are you calling from California? And I said, no, why would you ask that? Well, of course, this was pre-call display and pre-cell phone and all of that. She just goes, well, I just figured when you moved away from the neighborhood, you must have gone to California and gotten involved with the movies, because I read an article with your name on it about a movie you had made that was going to premiere called Drive-In. And we talked about it. And I said, no, we shot that here in Texas. And I will be moving to California as soon as I graduate high school in another 6 months or so. And she said, well, if you're right here in Dallas still, we should get together sometime. To which I responded, the earliest I could do that would be immediately. And I went out and got in my car. And so now we're talking about maybe 15 minutes from the nudge until I'm in my car headed to see her. And we only lived a little over 5 minutes apart. And I pulled up that night, and as I was walking in their house, her mother for years said that she turned and went, uh-oh, and said that to her dad because she said something was different about our chemistry that night. That was November the 8th, 1976. And we've been together for 44 years since, married for 42.
Wow. So
long, long time. So to agree with John, when you get a nudge, just stop and listen, and you will know, unquestionably, you will know the source from whence it comes. When you honor those whispers, your life becomes magic, right? It's all part of your intended Earth School curriculum. Pay attention. Hoist your antennas high, and there are very special messages that come from our Creator. Keno?
Well, which time? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So Jill, my wife,
she ought to come in and hit you over the head with a shoe right now.
That would be so appropriate.
Perfect. Knock over my green screen, throw me out in the ocean.
Right.
So,
or just come in with her beach umbrella and poke you in the ear with it. You know.
So
I just want to know what's the difference between goosebumps and chicken skin. But go ahead.
I know. So I used to drink a lot, as you guys know, and I by the grace of God and a lot of hard work, have 18 and a half years sober now.
Yes.
And but I had a couple of practice runs in my drinking years. But then, I ended up meeting Jill. I'd been sober. How long? I'd been sober for about 7 years, and had literally said, I give up. In sobriety, I had a sponsor, and I kept picking the wrong women. I'll just say that. And my sponsor goes, who's in the ministry too, and he says, "You've got a bad picker." I said, I'm starting to think you might be right. And he goes, "Why don't you do the same thing you did with alcohol and just surrender and let God handle it?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, but like, does God know what I want though? I mean, because like, like there's certain things that I want, and so I surrendered. I'm not dating, I'm not doing anything, and another friend of mine said, "Hey, why don't you come out and meet with me and my business partner? We need a website built. That's what I've done forever, and we want to talk to you about it." So I drive out to East Jabib, like it was in the middle of nowhere, and I'm pulling down this long driveway, huge log home. I'm like, my God, what's her business partner do? This was her business partner's house. This is a beautiful place, and it's laid out, and so I go pulling into the driveway, and this smoking hot blonde jumps off this John Deere tractor wearing Daisy Duke shorts. I'm like, I'm here to meet with so-and-so and her partner. And she goes, "Oh, hi, I'm Jill." And I'm like, "You're Jill? Are you serious?" I'm like, "Where's your husband?" Like, immediately I start fishing. I'm like, and she's like, "I don't have a husband." I'm like, "This is yours? This is your house?" And she's like, "Yeah." And so anyway, we sat at her kitchen table talking about the website, and I started, she moved in closer so she could look at the computer, and I just looked at, both of us remember this moment. I looked at her as we were talking about this website. She looked at me, and bam, it was literally, we both saw it, felt it at that moment.
It was chemistry.
It was. We threw our friend out of the house. I'm kidding. So I said, well, let me, we'll talk about this website, and I'll get back with you with a proposal. And so I went home, and I
like that. I'll get back with you with a proposal.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I called her and I said, "Hey,
man of his word, Scott, man of his word."
I said, "I'll tell you what. I literally almost did the website for free. And I just said, I'll give you a huge discount if you go out on a date with me." She wasn't dating. I remember hearing that she wasn't dating. She had just gone through a breakup a few months earlier. And I'm like, well, we can always resort to prostitution. Right. So, I'm just kidding. So I said, look, I'll, and so she's like, "Well, you don't need to give me a discount. I'd love to go to dinner with you." So we went to dinner, and it was phenomenal. And so that's where it'll be 11 years next week on the 20th. So
happy anniversary, bud.
Longest I've ever been married. So
when did it cross that mile marker, Ken?
It is. What's that?
When did it cross that mile marker?
Years ago. We'll leave it at that. So,
okay.
Can we just park the car right there? And,
yeah, sure.
But you said something though, we have a 10-year-old daughter, and as you guys know, and look, I mean, it does take work. It takes work to stay committed. Is for me is the way I see it. Is like, we have gone through some, owning a business and the ups and downs of it, and man, we have gone through some trials and tribulations that have been insane. But for me, it always comes back to just surrendering. Like, even when we're having our moments that are requiring more work than probably should be, it's like, wait a minute. Okay, you know what? I remember a guy in Alcoholics Anonymous say one time, he said, no matter what the problem is, the answer is God. And as long as I remember that, and I turn to that, I'm not talking getting super religious or anything else. I've told sponsees that I've worked with in recovery, look, dude, you can call God whatever you want to call God. God doesn't care. He doesn't have an ego trip problem. Like, God, but you're going to need to turn to something bigger than you. And, I go with God because that just works for me. So, but anyway, yeah, that's my story. And my wife is absolutely amazing. Like, let me tell you how amazing she is. I ordered her something for Valentine's Day, paid extra so it would be overnighted, and they didn't overnight it, and it did not show up.
And you're still married.
And she's like, whatever, it'll be here in the next couple of days. Like, she's just,
she's chill.
She's not needy. Is that the right word? I don't know if that's the right word. She doesn't, it's not, she's like, it'll be here. It's cool. Not every day is Valentine's Day in our house. I'm just being real. There are days where it's like, I mean, but it's staying committed. I watched my grandparents stay married for over 60 years before, my grandfather passed away, and they fought, like, they would argue. It was funny, and they just laugh at each other after, it was just, so it's that commitment, just staying committed no matter what. That's what's worked for us. So, yeah. I'm the junior of the bunch.
I think patience is a huge factor in love and just in life in general, being patient for your own processing of things. And I've been interviewed about this because Hollywood marriages are measured in dog years. And so it's really true. So ours, we're like over 100 years of marriage. Dog years 7 times gives us about 280 years of marriage in Hollywood. And I think it's a couple of things. I think it is the understanding that Carolyn knows how to live her life better than I know how to live her life. And I know how to live my life better than she knows how to live my life. And both of us would agree that that's the truth. And I think that's really, really huge, to be there as a cheerleader for your own expansion, and knowing that that you committed to pushing through, because certainly storms are part of it, but how you handle those storms is what varies from relationship to relationship. Whether or not there will be storm activity, it happens. And I think that challenges show up in relationships as much as turbulence shows up when you fly. It's not like, look, you could have a flight attendant that only worked for an airline for 3 days and ask them if they've ever encountered turbulence, and they might very well say not at all. But if you ask someone that's been flying for 10 years if they've ever encountered turbulence, you're going to get the same response every time. Not only yes, but hell yes. They would look at you like you had a screw loose. Of course, Of course they've had turbulence. But what did you do with the turbulence? Did you always try to rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic? Because that's largely pointless. And we figure that out sooner or later, that you can change the scenery all you want, and at the end of the day, you're still going to have to deal with yourself and your own issues. Change the scenery as much as you want, and there you still are. So when you have someone that says, I will patiently watch and believe in you while you process your life. And both parties are saying that. And that doesn't mean that every chapter is just as satisfying or as eventful or as fun. But I think my favorite thing about our being together all these years later is that when we got together, we were kids. And I'm not counting the play doctor phase. I mean, when we were 17 and 16. And when I moved to LA, what I love about Carolyn still to this day is she was banking on my dream. And I didn't have anything to show for it at the time. So she was excited about there being an us when we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, which means her motives are pure, because everything we've done in our 44 years together, we've built together. So why let someone else swoop in who wasn't a part of constructing this life to be the beneficiary of what was constructed? And we've thought a lot about that. You know, I've had one partner that really was there to help me build everything. And I love you, honey. And thank you for, you know, she's usually downstairs watching us live. I don't know if she is or not tonight because of the weather. She may be out covering all the plants or something. But anyway, I do think that we have to be willing to push through when maybe we're not at our personal best for whatever reason. Maybe we're discouraged. Maybe our partners are discouraged, and we row the boat when they're tired. Yeah. Sometimes we row together. Sometimes we row for one another. But this is what I meant about patience. And yeah,
just like
we're in a long-term relationship, guys.
Just like letting Scott off the hook, he's got to go. Scott, you got to go.
Hey man, I got to show. Look, I'm going to show. She's waiting patiently.
Hey, Tammy.
Tammy, meet John.
Howdy.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So I understand video poker was good in your life, darling.
I told him.
It used to be.
Yeah. Did you catch that?
Oh,
It used to be.
Oh, it used to be good.
Yeah.
22.
That might be
22. Wow.
Well, if you excuse me, I'm going to take my bride, and let me explain for the fun. With all the closure of restaurants and the minimum capacities and everything, it was really difficult to get a dinner reservation. We had to go early tonight. So thank you guys for understanding. And a bunch of folks are saying hi, Tammy, here on the comments. So thank you for understanding and let me scoot just a few minutes early, because it's a special night. And I know it is for you guys as well. So thank you for that. And John, what a treat to enjoy your talent tonight. And you just blew me away.
Thank you, sir.
You are a special talent. And
I look forward to introducing you guys in person at some point, Scott. Now, you know what? You know what's bound to happen? Once we get on the backside of COVID, I guarantee you and John and I will wind up, doing somewhere. You and John may wind up on a stage, just the two of you. You just never know, but that's the way these things tend to work.
Yeah.
John does a lot of stages, and I know you do too. So,
but John's sitting there thinking, I work alone.
No. Ken, I'll see you on the new parlor.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So, John, we're going to keep you on with us for a few minutes. We don't close for another 20. But Scott, be well.
Scott,
have fun. Tammy, good night. Enjoy your time at Caesars tonight.
All right.
Thank you. Good night.
It's supposed to be a heart.
Okay.
Wow.
And now it's the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named John.
Am I the new guy?
Yeah, you're it. You're the deal. So
bump up my vocal skills.
Right about this time every week, and I would have had Scott do it because he's the one that always sets it up, and we don't want to miss, but we do a thing called Ooh, That's Just Wrong. And it's observations that we've made during the week of things that are just peculiar, and we kind of can't believe it. And mine actually occurred today, and it's harmless, but it was funny. because as wonderful a woman as Carolyn is, and she truly is, but there are certain things where I would want to send her back to school. And one of them I would want to send her back to school at. It's only a few, but one of them was the manner in which she orders at the drive-through when you're going through. And I mentioned to John, I was texting to John earlier today that we were sitting in a parking lot and it was 12 degrees and we are eating KFC. And I got to tell you, Kentucky Fried Chicken, when it's really hot and it's crispy and you've got mashed potatoes and it's 12 degrees outside, you might even start thinking in terms of the months, the extra months it might cost you off the end of your life because you've eaten fried chicken. And suddenly you go, you know what? It's worth it. Like it's worth it. And that's the ultimate commercial I could do for KFC, because I'm sitting there going, I don't care if this costs a few extra. I'm loving this moment. Well, rewind back to us going through the drive-through. And it's that moment where Kara is going, let me look at the board. Let me look at the, don't pull up yet. Let me look at the board. Okay. All right. Oh, what are these sides? What are the sides I get to have? And I told her what they were. And now I get clear. She goes, ooh, 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 sweet corn. She got so excited. And she really did. Ooh, sweet corn. And we got up there and I ordered a 2-piece with 2 sides. She says, spicy, have them. Let's do spicy. And he goes, we don't have spicy. We don't have spicy. Well, I said, what do you have? Original recipe? And he goes, and crispy. We have crispy. And so she goes, okay, original recipe. Ooh, it's sweet corn. So she goes, okay, my sides. I'll have coleslaw and mashed potatoes. What?
What happened?
What happened to sweet corn? And I mean, she was borderline orgasmic over sweet corn not 12 seconds earlier. I mean, she really, like, that was the one that stood out. So I'm getting ready to go mashed potatoes and sweet corn. Right? I'm switching to slow motion when she goes and coleslaw. Oh, anyway, it's a funny thing, but I kid her all the time. I just go, would you please just order for yourself when we go through the drive-through?
Hey, creatures of habit, after all.
That's right. My wife always asks, "What's your favorite?" to the server in a restaurant. Well, what do you like? What's your favorite?
And then do they tell her, and then she orders something else? I love it.
Or, no. Honestly, most of the time they'll say they'll sell her on their favorite, and then she's like, "Oh, I'll have that."
Well, that's
the ultimate consumer.
Really? The possum doesn't sound good, babe. I don't think you want that. Oh, anyway.
Do you have a new that's just wrong, Ken, or is that it?
I do. I have one, which you already know.
Yeah, but about the scammers.
Yeah.
So come on with it.
For 5+ years now, I have people that steal my photos, and they steal my daughter's my little girls, both of them, and they steal their photos.
This is on the internet, John.
Yeah, and they create these fake profiles on everywhere, on every kind of dating site, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just saw one today on LinkedIn and reported it. The guy actually followed me. It's crazy. And all of this, so all of these things are happening, and most of the time Facebook, and these other platforms, Instagram, 50, probably 60% of the time after I report the fake profile, they'll email me and say, we've investigated, which is, I'm going to go with no, you didn't. But they say, we investigated this, and we found that this profile does not go against our community standards. This has happened thousands of times. I get 4, 5, 6 times a day, every day. There are people watching right now that have reached out to me to report a fake profile, and that's how they now know the real Ken Walls. And so when you said make sure it's the real Ken Walls, like that's what I use is real Ken Walls, but it's out of control. This lady reaches out the other day, sets up a meeting through my website. I thought we were talking about business, and it was at 5:30 on Friday. I meet with her and her husband, and she said, I read your book, and I really feel like you're the only person on the entire planet that can help us. And I'm like, perfect. Well, what do you need help with? She goes, well, my elderly mother thinks she's in love with you. And and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I know where this is going. And I said, she's been scammed, right? Her mother sent thousands of dollars to some scammer, which happens all the time. People reach out to me and say my mother or them personally, they've sent thousands of dollars. I've had women reach out and go, aha, I caught you. Does your dead wife know that you're and I'm like, you've been scammed. And then I have to spend 20 minutes going back and forth explaining you've been scammed. It's blah blah blah, and it's really it's wearing me out. It literally is. It's like I called my aunt who's a federal agent, and I said, hey, I need help. How do we stop this? And so she told me to reach out to the FBI, and so I'm reaching out to the FBI this week. It's out of control. It's literally thousands. I searched Instagram just for my name yesterday and found 3 right off the bat using my name and my photos. And they use like Ken Walls 694576 as their, it's crazy. It is absolutely insane. Most of the time they use a fake fictitious name, but use my photos and my daughter's. And then they come off like they're a widower or they're going through a divorce and they need help from unsuspecting women that fall for it. Not all of them fall for it, obviously, but a lot of them do. And they send thousands and thousands of dollars to these people. It's insane. So yeah, that is just wrong.
Yeah, that's very wrong. They said the FBI, I guess, said that didn't meet their standards. But it begs the question: what exactly are your standards? Like, what qualifies for investigation if that doesn't?
It's so Facebook is most popular for it. Saying it doesn't go against our community standards. And I used to it happens so often that I'm now it's just kind of like, whatever. I just delete it and move on with my life. But knowing that fake profile is out there scamming somebody. They're scamming people all over the world. It's horrible. It's horrible.
And John, there's no exact type answer we're looking for when we do these. I know that early on, probably 2 months into COVID, I reported one that, this was pre-COVID. It was pre-COVID. We went into a restaurant and this waiter came up to offer us refills. And the picture he was holding right here, right up under his mouth. This pre-COVID, so there were no masks. Right up under his mouth, he said, "Can I refill for you?" And he was at such an angle that the light perfectly illuminated his spittle. I mean, it was beautifully illuminated, and you could see it flying right out of his mouth into the pitcher. And that made our list that week of, that's just wrong. Needless to say, we passed on the refill. But do you have an, that's just wrong?
Well, I do. There's a certain airline that I don't care for, and I'm not going to name them.
No.
But they're very spirited people that work there.
Understood.
Anyway, I became curious one day when I was using the facility on the plane. And the toilet mechanism is created by and operated by Kirby vacuum cleaners. And so everything vacates, when you use one of those.
Yes, for
And
all
I
of our
just had this-
travelers, we know.
I just had this curiosity. What if I put the end of the roll of toilet paper in the bowl? Well, let's just say it was just wrong. You have never seen a roll fly that fast.
That's funny. You know what I thought you were going to tell us? You might add this to the story the next time. Tell people that used to be a white tie. Right.
Well, I was going to say I made suction and couldn't stand up.
Yes. I will tell you, I have flown that airline once. And it was so bad. True story. It was so bad. I didn't buy the ticket. A company that had me come out to speak in San Diego from Texas flew me. It was so bad that I would not return on the same airline. And I told the people, I said, if I have to pay for it myself, that's fine, but I'm not getting on
if
this
I have to
airline again.
walk.
Right. And they got my point and they put me on a different airline coming back. But oh my gosh.
Yeah. Wow.
Speaking of things that go ahead, John.
The people there are just condescending. And
Go ahead.
I won't finish it because
please go ahead.
Condescending is when you talk to people and you're really kind of talking down to them like they don't know what you're saying.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Hey, I want to send prayers out for real. Just a slight gear shift here. We had a huge situation happen here in Fort Worth, Texas, just a couple of days ago. We had a 133 car pileup, which our state has never seen anything at all like this. Now, I know, Ken, in your neck of the woods, from time to time, they do see these because of their intense weather in Ohio and Pennsylvania and all over the Midwest. And they get these very foggy conditions combined with ice. And it's just a nightmare where it's one car right after another. But it was.
We had the same thing in Daytona today.
What happened in Daytona?
At the Daytona 500.
Did something happen there?
I'm just kidding. There was an accident, but it was only.
But nobody died or anything.
No,
right?
I don't think so. But 22, 25.
There were 6.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. There were 6 people who lost their lives, and certainly many more who who were battered up, and the severity to which they've not yet published in the newspapers. But again, as Ken and I talked about the other day, I think the important thing to recognize here, and not to be afraid of, and certainly not to be morose, but to be ever mindful of the fact that every one of those people had dreams. They had thoughts, hopes, feelings, ideas, frustrations, securities, insecurities. They were living life exactly like we are today in this moment.
Yeah.
And they were expecting a later today, because this happened at 6:00 in the morning, and they were expecting a tomorrow. And that wasn't to be. And I actually want to offer a tip. And Ken, I didn't tell you I was going to do this. Certainly didn't mention it to John, because John didn't even know I was going to announce this. But I feel very much, because a lot of people watch this show, that I want to offer a safety tip, because it saved my life. And I will be offering this to my students this week, because the accident happened since our last class, which was on Tuesday. So here is my tip in an event like this. If you wind up being, God forbid, in this kind of an accident where it's foggy or it's ice and you cannot control and you should hit, again, God forbid, but this is this is the reason they have things like fire drills. It's not because you're going to be in a fire. It's so that if you are, you have a plan. Because it is a fact that when we're in a crisis and we're in what could be potentially a life or death moment, sometimes without a plan, our goose is cooked. And we have to have something that was put in there before the situation that can help us. So on December the 6th of 2001, my son and I were driving across the Siskiyou Mountains about 1 o'clock in the morning in conditions much like what Fort Worth had the other morning. The south side of the Siskiyous were clear because the wind was blocked coming in from the north. The north side, however, was completely iced over. And when we came up over the top of the mountain, I was doing a respectful 8 miles per hour. So clearly I was not driving in a dangerous way. There were no chain warnings up yet or anything. We were doing what we were supposed to do, but the north side of the mountain was bad news. Mm-hmm. And we hit it. And when we came across the top, I realized that I'm headed downhill and I have no control over the vehicle at all. None, which I've never experienced. There's no brakes, there's no steering, there's no anything. And fortunately, there's no traffic, but it's already instantly clear to me that we are going to be in a crash. And there's plenty of time to think about it because we're headed straight down a very long hill. And as soon as there is a curve in the road, we're going either over the rail or we're going into the median strip.
Wow.
We understand it's going to be bad. And I made sure that my son's seatbelt was fastened and, and it was, but just to double check, we're going to be in a wreck. And I'm watching as the speedometer climbs. We climbed all the way to 54 miles per hour when I saw our inevitable fate, because we were now finally beginning to drift to the right side, to the shoulder of the road, where I spotted an 18-wheeler that was parked.
Oh,
and we were going to hit it, and we did, at 54 miles per hour, lights out. Not something you ever want to experience is driving that fast into a brick wall. By the grace of God, courtesy of seatbelts and airbags, we survived the crash. However, I was bloodied up. It scared my son. I knew that I was messed up. My brain had been rocked, probably a concussion, but I knew I was bleeding pretty badly. But I did a quick toe and finger check, as did my son. We realized that we had survived it, that we were okay. And then one of those whispers, John, that we talk about kicked in, and the whisper said this: you need to get out of this car immediately. Now, never mind the fact that it was 18 degrees and it was snowing and we were really ill prepared to go hang out in the cold. But what I was clear on, because I was still thinking, I was clear that pilot error is not what produced that impact. What produced the impact was gravity, which means there is a very good reason to believe that a similar fate will occur for the next vehicle coming over the top of the hill. Now, mind you, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and bad weather, so there really wasn't much in the way of traffic. We got out of the car, and I would say at about 30 seconds after our impact, we see the next set of headlights, which is yet another 18-wheeler.
Oh, God.
Which goes into a jackknife. He had and this is someone who drives for a living. So it was neither one of our fault. It was just a circumstance, just like what happened in Fort Worth. We got out of the vehicle. Well, that 18-wheeler came right up our backside. But we were not there to be crushed. So here's what I want to tell everybody, a tip that I pray to God you will never need. But if you're in a fog, if you're in any situation like this, whether it's ice, fog, whatever, and you are the last person to go into somebody in front of you, the first thing you want to do, if you're okay, I mean, if you've survived it, is look in your rear view mirror, look in your side view mirrors. If nothing is coming up on you like right now, like right this second, get out of the vehicle and walk forward. Walk forward. Get away from what is coming up your backside, because the majority of these deaths are not from the initial impact. It's from what comes up their backside.
Yeah.
So as evidenced, if any of you watched the videotape, and thank you for indulging me long enough to talk about it, but the videotapes they showed of this accident, there were people who survived their crashes, but did not survive. They survived the front end impact. And then what took them out was the 18-wheeler. Here's one other tip. Be careful in general when you're on the highways. If you're in a small sedan, don't be driving in front of an 18-wheeler, right? Just find a way to be in a different lane. If an 18-wheeler is what you see in your rearview mirror, let them go on by, get in a different lane, because that is not what you want, whether it's rain, whether it's ice. You do not want an 18-wheeler coming up your backside. I don't want to misspeak, but I know the impact is something like 30 times. I was reading it once in a driver's thing that the fatality numbers are so much greater from rear end accidents that come as a result of 18-wheelers, a truck against a car. And those physics don't line up. So car hitting a truck, for example, we hit the truck. We survived. Because it was parked and we come into it. But if a truck had come up my backside and we're in it, that's game over. Yeah. So just be aware that you might, at some point, if you're in an accident, you might actually have to exit the vehicle if you're capable of exiting the vehicle.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
And it saved our lives, and we're still here to talk about it.
That's a mic drop moment.
Yeah. Wow.
Truly grateful.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible, man. That what happened? I was showing that to Jill today. I was like, "Did you see this?" And the videos, I looked for it on YouTube just to see what the aftermath was, and my gosh, it was.
Is the death count still at 6?
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. Well, that's our Valentine's show, guys. It's been splendid, John. We can't thank you enough for coming and spending time with us. I love
of all
you,
the episodes I've been on, I have to say this is my favorite.
Hey, listen, will you come back as Donald J. Trump?
You betcha.
Will you come back and do that for us? We'll just have you back at another time, the time of your choosing, brother.
Hey, I've got 2 years to kill.
That's funny. That's
maybe
funny.
4 years to kill.
Hey, by the way, Ken, I introduced John to Clubhouse today.
Oh, awesome.
So I told him, that'll wind up being a gold mine for him.
Oh my gosh.
Don't you agree?
Yes, John, it's get ready to like spend a lot of time. Like time just slips by on there. It's just like
that sounds awesome.
Where did all that time just go? Glenn and I did a Clubhouse room. It was a couple Saturdays ago. We started at 4:00 in the afternoon East Coast time, and ended it at about 2:30 a.m.
Yeah, it was like a 10-hour.
Goodness,
it was like a 10-hour room.
Yeah.
I tried
my wife. I'm going to need couples counseling.
Hey, but you know what? If you want, Ken, you and I could do a Ken and Glenn show where we host the president.
Oh, let's do it.
We could do that. That would be great fun.
Which president? President Trump.
Well, I'll leave that up to John, but
take your pick.
but we'll talk about it. Hey guys, that's our show. We love you. Happy Valentine's Day. John, we appreciate you being here, and you guys go out above all, make great choices this week. You'll be glad you did. God bless you guys.
John, stay with us. Don't hang up. Don't hang up. You guys have a great week. Thanks so much for being here, and we will see you next Sunday.